this is Ili, musical teacher from Merdeka, Cebu. In this video, I would like to share with you one of the most popular traditional Chinese instrument, which is the Guzheng. Before we start, I would like to thank Numerical for having this amazing Beatspace program and getting in touch with Merdeka, Cebu, giving us the opportunity to share with you this wonderful Chinese instrument. Without further ado, let me start by introducing you some simple background and the structure of the Guzheng. The Guzheng is also known as the Chinese zither. It is a traditional Chinese plucked string instrument with history over 2,500 years. The Guzheng has become prominent during the Qing dynasty, and it has become a trendy Chinese instrument nowadays. Now let me introduce you the structure of the Guzheng. As you can see here on my right hand side, this is what we call the head of the Guzheng. When we open up the cover, this is where we can find the tuning pads are. And at the other side of the Guzheng is what we call the tail of the Guzheng. In the middle here, we have this thing called the bridge. The bridges are all located on the faceboard, and the bridges are all movable. Modern Guzheng usually has 21 strings with range about 4 octaves, alto pitch, low pitch, middle pitch, high pitch, and a soprano pitch. It is tuned in a major pentatonic scale, which are the Do, Re, Mi, Sol, and La, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, with the green string as the fifth. In order to produce the sound of Fa and Ti, we will need to use our left hand to press down the string of Mi and La. The underside of the Guzheng is also known as the backboard. As you can see here, there are 3 sound holes located at the backboard, and the sound hole allows music to escape from the Guzheng. The first hole we can see here is located under the head of the Guzheng, and it is called the dragon pawn or the dragon calf. The second sound hole is what we call the celestial pawn or the earth well, and the last sound hole, which is located under the tail of the Guzheng, is what we call the phoenix eyes.
The fake nail in the Guzheng definitely does not refer to the ones you can get from the nail salon. These fake nails are actually called finger picks, and they are usually made out of turtle shell or plastic. As you can see in the picture, the shape of the thumb finger pick is obviously different from the others, while the others' finger picks are the same, which means other than the thumb finger pick, the rest of the finger picks can be used freely to the index finger, middle finger, or the ring finger. So, how does a Guzheng player put on the finger picks since the picks are just a piece of thing without any attachment. Actually, Guzheng players use a cloth tab, or you can call it the plaster, to tap the picks onto the fingers. This kind of cloth tab or plaster does not refer to the medical plaster as we know. This type of cloth tab or plaster was made for the musical player such as Guzheng player to tap their finger picks onto their fingers. In the case of Guzheng, player used the plaster to tap the finger picks on the third finger joint, which is also called the distal phalanx of the right hand. As the player increases the skills or level of Guzheng, they will also wear the finger picks, not just the right hand, but also on the left hand too. By now, you must be curious why should a player must wear the finger picks when playing the Guzheng. Why can't the player play the Guzheng with just a bare finger, right? So actually, wearing a finger picks when playing the Guzheng can not just only protect the fingers from blistering, but also make sure that when the string is plucked, the sound comes out bright and not muffled. So, after introducing you all this knowledge of finger picks, or you can call it fact nails, I'm going to teach you how to tap the finger picks onto our fingers by using the plaster.
Now we will need to learn how to put on the finger pick, or you can also call it fact nail, onto our finger. Normally we are using only 8 fingers to play the Guzheng, 4 on the left and 4 on the right. The fingers we are going to use are thumb, index finger, middle finger and the ring finger. In order to wear the finger pick, you will need to have a plaster and of course the finger pick. So first, you will need to have to cut the plaster into 12 cm long for each of the finger pick. And before you stick the finger pick onto the plaster, make sure that you leave a space minimum 1.5 cm long. Only then you stick the finger pick onto the plaster. Then you can put the plaster with the finger pick onto your hand first, but not sticking it. And make sure that you have leave the space like 0.5 cm for the head. 0.5 cm. Then you can start sticking the plaster onto your finger. Always remember that the thumb finger pick should always facing in the opposite direction with your hand. For example, if you are wearing the thumb finger pick for your right hand, your thumb finger pick should always facing to the left instead of the right. Same goes to the other finger. Make sure you leave the space 1.5 cm, then you stick the finger pick. And remember to leave the head like 0.5 cm, then you start sticking it onto your finger. Onto your fingers. And we're done. With your fingers getting ready, now let's practice the 3 basic techniques of finger plucking. The first finger plucking technique is what we call kaum, using your middle finger to pluck the string, and the second is called mo, using your index finger to pluck the string, and the last one is called tuo, using your thumb to pluck the string.
Besides the single finger plucking technique, there are also plucking technique using multiple fingers, such as the 大戳, or in direct translate to English is called big pinch. As you can see in the picture on the left side is the symbol of 大戳 or big pinch. 大戳 is a multiple fingers plucking technique using the thumb and middle finger to pluck the strings simultaneously. Player has to use the strength from the finger joint, bending the fingers towards the palm to pluck the string. Usually, player use the 大戳 technique when the distance between the two plucked strings is very far, such as 4 strings or even more in between the two plucked strings. Xiaochuo, or in English we can call it small pinch, is also known as one of the most common multiple fingers plucking technique. The picture on the left shows the symbol of 小戳 or small pinch. 小戳 is almost the same as 大戳. Both of these plucking techniques have to use 2 fingers to pluck the strings simultaneously, using the strength from the finger joint, bending the fingers towards the palm to pluck the strings. However, there's also a big difference among them. The biggest difference between these two techniques is that the player using different fingers to play. In 小戳, player used thumb and index finger to play. But in 大戳, like I said previously, player used thumb and middle fingers to play. So, how can a player differentiate when to use 小戳 or 大戳, since both of them is quite similar? So the answer is, normally, player used 小戳 when the distance between two plucked strings is very near. However, even though the distance is very near, but usually there must be at least 1 string in between the two plucked strings. Glissando is a musical term which defined as a rapid series of ascending or descending notes on the musical scales. In the Guzheng, the term for glissando is known as 花指, or in direct translate to English is called flowering finger. As you can see in the picture on the left side, which looks quite like a flower, is the symbol of 花指, or flowering finger. This is an ornament or unique sound decoration which player use either the thumb or index finger, quickly running across a series of strings and produce a stream of sounds. It is either the thumb swept away from the player or the index finger swept towards the player. These glissandos can be as short as 3 strings or as long as 10 strings, perhaps even more, depends on the songs or piece. Vibrato is also a musical term which understand as a pulsating effect in an instrument or vocal tone produced by slight and rapid variation in pitch. In the Guzheng, vibrato is also called 颤音. As you can see in the picture on the left, the symbol of 颤音 actually looks like a wave. To produce the sound of vibrato, the Guzheng player must pluck the string with the right hand first, then pressing and releasing the string continuously with the left hand. The player has to keep the left index finger, middle finger, and the ring finger together for the action pressing and releasing the string. 颤音 can be played with either short or long duration, and it can be sped up, slowed down, or at even speed, depends on the player and the song or the piece.
Numerical music notation is a simple form of music notation, and most of the Guzheng score nowadays are all in such form. Therefore, in order to play the Guzheng, we will need to learn how to read the numerical music notation. Numerical music notation is actually make use of the first 7 Arabic numerals to denote the pitch name. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 represent the solfege Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, and Ti respectively. Dots are either on top or below the number to indicate a pitch 1 octave higher or 1 octave lower respectively. However, such notation is subjective to what the Do or 1 is. We need to know what the key the piece is in as a point of reference. For example, if the key shows 1 or Do represents C, means the 1 or Do should be C and 2 or Re should be the D. If the key now showing 1 or Do represent D, means the 1 or Do should now be shifted to the D instead of C, and 2 or Re should now be E instead of D. Now let's wrap up our video by listening and enjoy to a Guzheng performance. here comes to the end of our video. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video and do learn something. If you are enjoying this video or having any question, feel free to drop down your comments and keep it up with Beatspace program or find us at Numerical Cebu. Once again, this is Iling, musical teacher from the Musical Cebu. Thank you for watching. See ya! Bye!